The materials required for the puff stitch crochet baby booties are any medium worsted weight yarn, any 8-ply yarn or DK yarn, but what I've used is the Patons Romance 8-ply Merino Rich Cashmere, and this can be purchased from Lincraft Australia through the link below. You'll also need 2 strips of double-sided satin ribbon, and whatever length you like for the bootie. You need your craft scissors, a yarn needle and a stitch marker. Now for sizes, if you're wanting to make a newborn to 3-month-old size, simply just use your 3mm hook. If you're wanting to make a 3-month to 6-month-old size bootie, use your 4mm hook. For a 6-month to 9-month-old size bootie, use your 5mm hook. And for a 9-month to a 12-month-old size bootie, use a 5.5mm hook. We'll be starting by making the sole, so we'll make a slip knot. And then we'll be chaining 10. So make 10 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we'll be doing a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So there's the first one and there's the second one. So we'll do a single crochet into that chain stitch, and then we'll be doing a single crochet into each of the next 7 chain stitches along. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we've got 1 chain left here, and we're going to do 5 single crochet stitches into this last chain stitch here. And for this first single crochet, we're going to crochet over the top of the tail there. So there's 1, and just leave the tail out the back there now. Into the same chain stitch. There's 2 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, and that's formed the toe. Now as you can see, we've come back, well we're coming around the other side here, and we'll be working into these unused or free loops. That's what they're called, which is basically the bottom of the foundation chain. Now we'll be working over this tail, and we'll be working it into the work so we don't have to weave it in with a yarn needle. So into the next 7 unused loops along here, we'll be doing 1 single crochet into each. So find your first one there and make sure you've got that tail over your hook, and do a single crochet. So there's one, and then into the next one. There's 2. Into the next one. Still working over the tail. 3. Single crochet. 4. 5. 6. 7. And now we've got 1 unused loop or free loop left here, and into that one we're going to do 2 single crochet stitches. Still working over the tail. 1 and a second one in there, second single crochet stitch, 2, and now we're going to join into the first single crochet stitch that we made on this round, which is right there. We're going to do a slip stitch into that single crochet stitch, and that joins this round, and that's round 1 completed. And now, because we've worked our tail in to the work, you can just trim that off now to get it out of the way. And now we're up to round 2. So we'll chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to use our stitch marker and place it into that second chain stitch we just made there, because when we come back around it's just easier to see where to join. If you haven't got a stitch marker, you can use a safety pin. Mine doesn't want to go in there. There we go. Okay, and now we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the same space as this chain 2 here, which will be in there. And now we'll do 1/2 double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we'll do 2 half double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches around. So we're still forming the toe around here. So we're increasing. So 2 half double crochet into the next stitch. So there's the first half double crochet into that stitch, and then we'll do a second half double crochet into that same stitch. So we've just increased. Now we'll do the same for the next one. One half double crochet and a second half double crochet into the same stitch there, and into the next stitch 2 half double crochet stitches again, there's the first one, there's the second one, into the next stitch 2 half double crochet stitches into that stitch, here's the first one and the second one into that stitch. And then moving on to the next stitch, we'll do 2 half double crochet stitches into that stitch as well. So there's the first one, and there's the second one. So I'll just double check I've got that right. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's fine. And now we're going to do 1 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches along. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we've got 2 stitches left here, and in each of these we're going to do 2 half double crochet stitches. So into the next stitch we're going to put the first half double crochet and the second half double crochet into that same stitch. And into this last stitch here we would put 2 half double crochet stitches in there. There's the first one, and there's the second one. And now we're going to join with a slip stitch into this chain 2 where we've got our marker here. So you'll take your marker out and just do a slip stitch. And that joins round 2. Now for round 3, we'll chain 2, 1, 2, and place the marker into that last chain stitch that we just made there, into the second chain stitch, and then we'll do 1 half double crochet into the same space as the chain 2. And there. Now we'll do 1 half double crochet into each of the next 12 stitches right along here. So here's our first one. There's 1 half double crochet. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we'll do 2 half double crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. So 2 each into the next 3 stitches. So there's the first one. And the second one in that same stitch. Into the next stitch. There's the first half double crochet, and into the same stitch a second half double crochet. Into the next stitch, first half double crochet, and a second half double crochet into that same stitch. We're just increasing on the toe. Now we'll do 1 half double crochet into each of the next 12 stitches along here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we'll do 2 half double crochet in each of these last 2 stitches here. So 2 half double crochet in there, 2 half double crochet in there. So here's our first half double crochet stitch, and into the same stitch there a second half double crochet. Into the next stitch and the last stitch, you put the first half double crochet, and the second half double crochet. And now we'll join into the chain 2 here where we've got our marker by making a slip stitch. And that's the end of round 3, and that's the sole completed. Now we'll be working on the sides, and for round 4 we'll be working in the back loops only for this entire round. So to start round 4 we'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll just place the marker in that last chain stitch we made there, because that's where we're going to join when we come back around. So now we're going to do a puff stitch in the next half double crochet stitch along, which is this one here. And to do a puff stitch, wrap your yarn over the hook, and remember, into the back loop only. Wrap the yarn over the hook and draw it through. Now you've got 3 loops on the hook. Wrap the yarn over the hook, insert it back into that back loop. Wrap the yarn over the hook and pull it through. And now you have 5 loops on the hook. Wrap the yarn over the hook, insert it back into the back loop, wrap the yarn over the hook, pull it through, and now you should have 7 loops on your hook, and then wrap the yarn over the hook and draw it through all of those loops on your hook. And there is your first puff stitch. And then to secure the puff stitch, just do a chain 1. Now we're going to skip the next stitch here on the sole, and we're going to do another puff stitch into this next stitch here. Working into the back loop only. And then secure with a chain 1. There's a second puff stitch. And so we're going to repeat that sequence right around. So we'll skip the next stitch on the sole here, and we're going to do a puff stitch into the next stitch here. Into the back loop. And then draw it through all those loops on the hook. And that's probably one of the hardest things with the puff stitch, is actually getting it through all of those loops. And then secure with the chain 1. Skip the next stitch, puff stitch into the next stitch, into the back loop. Now I remember learning this stitch myself, and I think I just wanted to run the first time I saw it. So don't be scared, it just takes a bit of practice. So I've just chained 1 there to secure it, and you're going to skip that stitch, puff stitch into the next stitch, and then chain 1, and you're going to repeat that right around to the end, and I'll show you how to finish off there. I'm at the end of round 4, and I've made my last puff stitch here, but I haven't done the chain 1 to secure here. And you should have 18 puff stitches right around on this round. But on the last puff stitch, don't do the chain 1. And then I've taken my marker out of the chain 3, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, and that will secure that last puff stitch. And that's what it's looking like now. So for round 5, we're going to start by chaining 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll just put our marker into that third chain stitch there. And now we'll do a puff stitch into each chain 1 space around, and we'll do the puff stitch into the space, chain 1, puff stitch into the space, chain 1, and so on, right around. So here's our first space here. So we'll do our puff stitch, and secure with a chain 1. Find the next space along and do a puff stitch, and secure with a chain 1. So repeat that right around with a puff stitch into each space. You do your puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, chain 1, and then I'll see you at the end and show you how to finish. I'm at the end of round 5 and I've made 18 puff stitches into the chain 1 spaces, and I've done my last puff stitch into the last space here, but don't do the chain 1 on top of this puff stitch. Now we're going to join into the top of the chain 3 with a slip stitch. And that's what it's looking like now. So for round 6, now we'll be working on the toe and ankle, and we'll start off with a chain 1, and we're going to do a single crochet into the same space as the chain 1. And then we're going to place the marker in that single crochet stitch that we just made. Now we'll do one single crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. So there's one single crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Here's our 11 single crochet, including the first one, which is 12. Now we're going to do a double crochet 2 together 6 times. So wrap the yarn over the hook, insert it into the next stitch, wrap the yarn over the hook, draw it through, wrap the yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops on the hook, wrap the yarn over the hook, insert it into the next stitch, wrap the yarn over the hook, draw it through, wrap the yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops on the hook, wrap the yarn over the hook and draw it through all 3 loops on the hook, and there's a double crochet 2 together. So we need to do 5 more of those. There's our second one. There's our third one. There's the fourth one. There's the fifth one. And there's the sixth one. And see how that pulls the toe in, because you're decreasing, crocheting 2 together. Okay, so for the rest of this round, we're doing 1 single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches. And for this next stitch, just have to do it a little tighter than normal because you're coming down from a taller stitch here, and a single crochet is a smaller stitch, so just bring it down, just do it a little tighter than normal so you don't have a big hole in between those stitches. See, that looks normal. So there's one single crochet. We need to do 11 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and our 12th one here. 12. And now we're going to join into that first single crochet stitch by making a slip stitch. And that's what it's looking like now. So that's the end of round 6. For round 7 we'll chain 1, and then we'll do 1 single crochet into the same space as the chain 1, and then we'll place our marker into that single crochet stitch. And then we'll do 1 single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches along. One single crochet, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're going to do a double crochet 2 together, and we're going to do it twice over the next 4 stitches. So I'll do the first double crochet 2 together, There's the first one, and now we'll do the second one. Double crochet 2 together. There's 2 double crochet 2s, double crochet 2 togethers. Okay, so now we'll move on to doing 1 single crochet into each of the next 13 stitches. And this single crochet stitch into the next stitch here, just do it a little tighter because we're coming down from a taller stitch. So there's 1 single crochet into the next stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's the last stitch there. Now we'll take our marker out and we're going to join into that first single crochet stitch with a slip stitch. And that's the end of round 7. For round 8, we'll chain 1 and we'll do 1 single crochet into the same space as the chain 1 space there. Then we'll place our marker into that single crochet stitch we just made. And now we'll do 1 single crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we're going to double crochet 2 together. So there's one double crochet, two together, and we're going to do another one. And there's our second double crochet, two together. Now we'll be doing one single crochet into each of the next 12 stitches along. So we're coming down from a taller stitch here, so do the single crochet stitch here a little tighter than normal. To bring that neatly down. So there's one single crochet, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and now we're going to join into this first single crochet stitch with a slip stitch. And that's the end of round 8. For round 9, we'll start off with a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to skip this space where the chain is, this stitch here, and skipping this stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet into this next stitch here. And we're forming spaces on this round so that we can put the ribbon through. So now we'll chain 1, skip a stitch, and put a double crochet stitch into the next stitch along. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and a double crochet into the next stitch. So you're going to repeat that sequence right around. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and double crochet into the next stitch. And I'll see you at the end. So at the end of round 9, I've made my last double crochet stitch here and I'm skipping that stitch there, and we're going to join into the third chain here of the chain 4, and you will need to make a chain 1 and then join in to the third chain there. With a slip stitch. With a slippery one, that one. Let me try that again. So we're trying to get into that third chain. Making a slip stitch. There we go, got him. And that's the end of round 9. And this is what the bootie would look like. So that's where we'll place the ribbon once we've completed the bootie, in and out of those spaces. For round 10, we'll start off with a chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll place our marker in that third chain stitch. And then we're going to do a puff stitch into the chain 1 space. So this first space here, make a puff stitch. And then secure it with a chain 1. So there's our first puff stitch. And we're going to repeat that right around. So into the next space, and puff stitch. And secure it with a chain 1. Into the next space, puff stitch. And secure it with a chain 1. So continue right around until the end, and I'll show you how to finish this round. So at the end of round 10, you should have 13 puff stitches into the chain 1 spaces. And on this last puff stitch, don't make the chain 1 to secure. We're simply going to join straight into where we've got our marker here, which is the top of the chain 3. And just make a slip stitch. And that's the end of round 10. This is what it's looking like now. So we're up to the last round, which is round 11, and we'll chain 1, and then we'll make one single crochet into the same space as the chain 1 here. And we'll just place our marker into that single crochet stitch. and then we're going to do 1 single crochet into each stitch around. And this just forms a nice edge to finish off the bootie. So continue around, making 1 single crochet stitch into each stitch around, and I'll see you at the end. At the end of round 11, I've made my last single crochet stitch there, and now we'll join into the first single crochet stitch we made by making a slip stitch. And now we can finish off. So cut your yarn, leaving enough to weave into the inside of the bootie. And with your yarn needle, just thread the yarn through the needle. I'll just trim that again. Now to get this nice and neat, if you just take the needle down that first stitch there, and pull that through, and that generally pulls the knot down so that it's not visible. And then just run your needle through the back of the last round of stitches. And you can keep going right around if you like until you run out of yarn, and then trim that off, and there's the bootie done. To weave the ribbon into the bootie, start from the back and slip the ribbon in through there, making sure that that middle double crochet stitch is showing, and then you'll just weave it in and out of the spaces, and then you'll have both ends pop out the same space at the front there, and then you'll just tie a knot or a bow at the front there, and then you can trim the ends or tie a knot in the ends of your ribbon to tidy it up.